Now I feel honored to invite Dr. Kanika K. Ahuja. She is the Associate Professor and Head in the Department of Psychology, Lady Shri Ram College for Women, New Delhi. She is a well acclaimed educationalist in the field of psychology. So let's welcome her. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for inviting me here today. I am going to discuss a very important topic, body dissatisfaction among women. Why is body dissatisfaction important? Why does it lead to mental health and other kind of health outcomes? What are the factors which lead to body dissatisfaction? How can we combat body dissatisfaction as women? What is it that we are not doing right? आज हम इन सारे इश्यूज के बारे में बात करेंगे क्योंकि ये वुमेन्स हेल्थ से बहुत ही ज्यादा इंट्रिकेटली जुड़े हुए हैं. So, firstly, why is appearance important to women? Is it important only to women? Is it important to men as well? Now, of course, you will argue appearance is important to both the genders. I'm not going to deny that. But appearance, physical appearance, is certainly more important to women in making self evaluations, in understanding how other people judge us. Appearance is very important. Why? Right from a very, very young age, we are taught what is beautiful is good. Look at all our storybooks. The good fairy princess is always beautiful. Cinderella, Snow White, Rapunzel, they are all beautiful. The wicked stepmother is always ugly. So we are conditioned to believe what is beautiful is good. Look at our Barbie dolls. Our Barbie dolls are tall, slim, gorgeous hair, abnormal figures, but that is what we grow up with. Men, on the other hand, boys, on the other hand, play with G.I. Joe toys, uh, guns, and so on, not focusing on appearance. So, at a very, very young age, we start developing symptoms that we are not as pretty as we would like to be. And that is body dissatisfaction, the negative subjective evaluation of one's body. It is a predominant risk factor for depression, emotional distress, and even low self esteem. For the last 20, 30 years, we have started being fed a particular belief that what is thin is beautiful. Beauty equates thinness, which is a very dangerous trend. You look at the actresses of today compared to actresses of yesteryears, say a Hema Malini or Meena Kumari, compared to the actresses of today, who are all very, very thin. So we grow up believing that what we are seeing in front of us is beautiful. Whether they are magazines, billboards, there is a lot of emphasis on slimming pills, sauna slim belts. The cosmetic industry shows us beautiful women who are thin. Everyone is thin around us. So it's a very dangerous message that we are giving out there. Thin is equal to beautiful. Did you know that most fashion models are thinner than 98% of women? 30 years ago, these models weighed only about 8% less than the average woman. Can you guess how much lesser they weigh today? The correct answer is 20%. The fashion models that we see today, whether on the runway or on the screens in front of us, are 20% less than the average woman. That's a lot. So, what does that do to us? A Harvard University study found that 80% women are unhappy with their bodies and only 1% are completely happy. On the other hand, men are broadly happy with how they look. Only 4%, yes, 4% of women around the world consider themselves to be beautiful. Isn't that worrying? Girls as young as 8 years display negative attitudes towards their bodies. The number one magic wish of girls between the age range of 11 to 17 years is to be thinner. Can you believe it? They're not thinking about friends, they're not thinking about boyfriends, they're not thinking about what they want to do when they grow older. Their number one wish is to be thinner. What is this doing to us? So, when you look at these media images, it gives rise to excessive dieting, excessive exercise behavior, eating disorders. Interestingly, incidences of eating disorders are on the rise not just for women but also for men. In 1990, 10% of people suffering from anorexia bulimia were estimated to be men. Today, it's more like 25%. So that's the percentage of jump that we see among men as well. How we feel about our looks, and that's true more for women than for men, greatly affects our self esteem. It affects how good we feel about ourselves, how confident we feel about ourselves, our well being, and even happiness. We are happy when we think we are looking good, we get unhappy when we think we are not looking so good. What is the role of media? Research shows us that just after 3 minutes spent looking at models in a fashion magazine, 70% of women reported feeling depressed, guilty, and ashamed of their bodies. So, this study was done in a waiting room of a dentist where women were given magazines, and so they were supposedly waiting to get inside for their treatment, and they flipped their magazine. So in one group, these women were shown fashion magazines. In the other group, they were given a neutral sort of material. And they found that in the group that was given fashion magazines, 70% of women said that they are feeling depressed, they are feeling guilty, and they are feeling ashamed of their bodies. This is what happens just after 3 minutes. Imagine the impact it will have when you look at these kinds of magazines and you read these kinds of features, watch these kinds of films in front of you for a longer time. Another study found that the amount of time an adolescent watches soaps, movies, and music videos is associated with her degree of body dissatisfaction and desire to be thin. So the more MTV, music television, music videos you watch, whether on YouTube or on some streaming channel, the greater is your desire to be thin and the greater is your body dissatisfaction. Social media perhaps makes it worse because it's also interactive. One review of 20 studies in 2016 found that the use of these social networking sites like apps like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so on, were associated with body image and disordered eating. In one very interesting experimental study, they found that when people take and post selfies on social media, which is a very, very popular trend among young women today. So, in one group was told to take a selfie and post it on social media without photo touching. So, we know there are all kinds of apps that make you look slimmer and take away your blemishes, it makes you look beautiful. There are all kinds of filters. So, one group was told you can use whatever filter you want and you can change how you're looking, and after retouching you can put your picture out, another group was told that you can't make any change onto the selfie, it has to be a regular picture. And they found interestingly that in both the groups it caused negative changes to their mood and body image. So even the group that was allowed to make changes where they touched themselves up and made themselves appear more beautiful, they still had negative body image issues compared to women who were not posting selfies on social media. An Indian study found that 30% of women reported that they were pressurized by advertisements. Advertisements that show very, very young women posing as mothers. So it makes you feel that you're a mother. How can you look so old? My own daughter told me, Mama, look at this mother, how beautiful she looks early in the morning. Why can't you look like her? So there is pressure that is coming when we watch these advertisements, which is unreal, right? They seem to be waking up in this beautiful glow. They're, of course, 20 years old or 22 years old, pretending to be mothers. And women who watch these advertisements also overestimated their present body size. So, in the sense that if they were, say, 60 kgs, they overestimated that and they said they were 62 or 63. And they also idealized a thinner image. This is what advertisements do to us. A very key question is, how do we use social media? Does social media impact every woman negatively? No. Studies have shown that appearance focused social sites rather than overall social media sites is related to body image concerns in young women. So the time that you and I spent on Facebook, for instance, predominantly viewing attractive photographs of friends, leads to greater appearance comparison and thin ideal internalization, and has a very strong impact on body dissatisfaction compared to time spent on Facebook, reading the news, or current affairs. So it depends on how you're using Facebook. If you use Facebook to read the news or watch a particular news item, as opposed to watching attractive photographs of friends, and mind you, everyone filters the pictures that they send, that they post, everyone puts their best pictures forwards, right? So when you see those pictures, it makes you feel everyone else out there is having a good time, everyone else is prettier, better looking, thinner than who you are. Similarly, on Instagram, users who follow predominantly appearance focused accounts, like a model or a fitness blogger, they may be more preoccupied with their own appearance compared to users who follow appearance neutral accounts, such as a travel account. So, again, if you're on Insta, it depends on who you're following. If you follow attractive models, fitness bloggers, it will make you think about your own appearance and perhaps result in greater body dissatisfaction compared to those who follow a travel Insta account, for instance. Are all young women impacted by attractive media images? So, does it impact all of us? A couple of years back, we did a study in which we wanted to study the effect of this thin ideal beauty as portrayed in the media on body dissatisfaction. So, here's what we did. We took 96 undergraduate students, all women, and we randomly assigned them to two groups. One group was shown attractive images of models and actresses, which focused on their various body parts. So one woman was picked up because she had a beautiful thin waist. Another woman had long legs. So the pictures focused on different aspects of appearance. This was one group. Another group was shown pens, which was a neutral control group image. Uh, Previous research, remember, I just shared one research with you which showed that simply spending 3 minutes watching attractive models makes you feel worse about yourself. So, based on previous research, we thought that the group that was shown these beautiful images of thin, attractive women are going to feel worse about themselves compared to women who are shown pens. However, what we found was something very different and very interesting. We found that there was no significant difference between the two groups on body dissatisfaction and negative affect, which essentially meant that regardless of what was shown to you, there was no difference between the body dissatisfaction of these women. So we were a little confused as to what was happening. Uh, did the girls even find these pictures attractive? So we had done a pilot study before that and established that these pictures were indeed attractive. So what was happening? Why did they not feel bothered? Why did it not arouse body dissatisfaction in them? So we interviewed these respondents and we asked them, what was going on in your mind when you saw these images, when you saw these models? There were three kinds of responses that came up. The first was a very heightened media awareness. So there were a couple of responses which said that, oh, don't you know these pictures are digitally touched? So they use airbrushing and, they're not real pictures. Come on, nobody looks like that. So they sort of discounted the fact that anyone was so beautiful. The second was media fatigue. This is, oh, we've been there, done that. We've seen so many pictures of these kind that it doesn't bother us at all. And most importantly, there was an absence of comparison other, which meant that they did not compare themselves to these women. So they said, so what? It's their job to look pretty. It's their job to be thin. Do you know they have to starve themselves? Do you know they can't eat? We pity them. Some of them even went on to say, we pity them, poor things they can't eat. So we found that contrary to popular research, not all young women are equally affected by media exposure. These were young, confident women who believed that it's the model's job to be thin, it's their job to be attractive. They are they and we are us, it doesn't matter. But I wasn't very convinced. So I thought, is it truly that they are not impacted by attractive women around them? I'm a woman. I do look at other attractive women and I do sort of compare myself with them. So what is happening? So we designed another experiment where we thought, let's look at peer conversations. Let's see how does, if there is another friend of yours who talks about body fat, appearance and all, will that impact you? So if media is not impacting you, what about peer conversations? So we designed a study to look at peer conversations. And we found, so in this study, what we did was we selected a young, pretty, attractive confederate. Let's call her Jasmine. So we selected this girl, Jasmine, and we told her to come to the lab. So, and she was told, so she was told what we are trying to do here. She was a what we call as a confederate. Her job was to come and sit next to the real participant who was called on some other pretext. So she was said, okay, come and we want you to tell us, do some experiment on perception. After we showed them some completely unrelated images of triangles and so on, which were neutral images, and we told them to find out how many triangles are being shown to you, how many squares, how many circles, a simple perception kind of a task, we left the room and left these two girls together. Now, Jasmine was told to talk to this other girl about how fat she has become. And remember, she was very thin. And how being attractive is important in today's time, and how appearance and how beauty impacts interview responses, for instance, and how it is important to take care of yourself, to look good and to be thin. And so Jasmine led the conversation on for 5 minutes. In one group, for one group of women, Jasmine spoke about beauty and appearance. In the other group of women, Jasmine spoke about neutral topics like the weather. Okay. Now, what we found was there was a huge difference on body dissatisfaction of the two women. So the group of women who was exposed to Jasmine talking about fat and appearance felt much worse about their bodies, and they felt guilty as compared to this other group where Jasmine spoke about neutral topics, weather. So a real person, just like you and me, talking about thinness and beauty affects us much, much more strongly than models or screens or magazines. So it seems that we are our worst enemies, not the media that we keep blaming. It's not them, it's us. It's what we talk to each other, which results in body dissatisfaction. I'm going to move away a bit and talk about COVID 19 and how the lockdown impacted us all. Now, lockdown was, of course, a very difficult time for all of us, men, women, everybody. There was, of course, the whole anxiety and uncertainty of not knowing what was happening. Try and recollect your time of April and May when we were in the midst of the lockdown. We didn't know how long the virus is going to continue. We didn't know how the economy is going to turn out. We didn't know whether we'll have jobs, how strongly impacted will our jobs be, how soon will offices resume. There was anxiety about everything. Now, in the midst of all this anxiety and anxious period, come in all kinds of fitness tutorials. So, tutorials that tell us, oh, it's important to look after yourself, let us exercise, let's do this. You can do this sitting at home, right? Well meaning, of course. But here you are watching these fitness tutorials of these so called Insta influencers, yeah? Or celebrities who were posting videos and who were saying, okay, this is what you can do at home. Gyms are shut, parks are shut, you can't walk there, but you can certainly do this at home. There were also online Zumba classes and so on. There were also cooking tutorials, right? So people telling us what to cook, healthy food to cook, diet food to cook, and so on. And then there were conflicting messages in terms of food shopping, food takeaways. Now, of course, this happened as the lockdown started to open up. Everyone started ordering in. There were lots of advertisements on Twitter, on Facebook, and so on of food takeaways. Suddenly, the advertising of apparel, clothes, goods, and all really went down. And what we saw were food takeaways, right? Also, there were all kinds of weight gain jokes and memes. So, quarantine 15 was a word which was coined at that time to account for the 15-pound weight gain that we all supposedly had because of the lockdown. So, this was called quarantine 15. There were all kinds of, as I said, weight gain jokes and memes. How am I going to look? And on top of it, there were food and appearance conversations with peers. So you must have seen weight gain memes like these: me in quarantine, before and after. None of your jeans are going to fit you, so make them boots, for instance. I found this one really funny. Stepped on my scale this morning and it said, please use social distancing, one person at a time. So there were all these kinds of weight gain memes and jokes, which of course were meant to be funny, but they reminded you of how perhaps fat you've become, how much weight you've put on, and what is it that you need to do to take care of yourself. So we designed a study to look at what were the kind of peer conversations that were happening during the lockdown? What were women talking to each other during the lockdown? Were they discussing appearance? Were they talking about their bodies? Were they discussing how fat I've become and so on and so forth? And what is it that they were watching? So, what was the impact of things like Insta, things like Facebook? What was the societal sort of media pressure in determining body dissatisfaction? So, studies showed that lockdown impacted all kinds of things. Lockdown resulted in mental health issues. It resulted in everyone feeling lonely, anxious, depressed, changes in sleeping patterns, and so on, but also body dissatisfaction. So there is some research that is emerging which shows that the lockdown also contributed in body dissatisfaction among women. So we wanted to see if that was true for Indian women as well. So we followed a questionnaire-based approach, and we gave questionnaires. This was, of course, online because this is the time of lockdown. We gave questionnaires to 265 women, Indian women, who were aged between 15 to 50 years. We did not take participants older than 50 years of age because there is some evidence which shows that emphasis on appearance and body dissatisfaction is not that prominent after 50 years. So it's perhaps it's a very heartening thing to say that beyond 50 you don't care that much about how you look, certainly with regard to thinness and so on. You're more sort of adjusted and more comfortable in your own skin. So we looked at women aged between 15 and 50. And we gave them certain questionnaires. One was called the body shape questionnaire. The other was socio-cultural attitudes towards appearance questionnaire. And there was a negative body talk scale, which found out how often do you talk about this kind of a fat talk, which measured, so the first one measured body satisfaction, the second measured societal influences, and the third measured fat talk. We also wanted to examine the content of the fat talk. So what is the response that you will give? So we posed this question. This was an open-ended question. Imagine that your friend said to you, "Oh, I feel so fat. I have put on so much weight during the lockdown." What would you say to her? So this was an open-ended question कि आपकी friend आपको कह रही है मैं मोटी हो गई हूँ, I've put on so much weight. आप उसको क्या जवाब देंगे? We wanted to see what is the response that a peer is going to give to a woman who's complaining of being fat, because the previous studies that I had done showed that more important than the impact of media was peer conversations, right? So we wanted to see what are women saying to each other. Now here are the results. So we performed a correlation statistics, and we found correlations between all the variables in this study. So if you look at the extreme right column, you can see that age and body dissatisfaction are indeed negatively correlated, which means as you grow older, your body dissatisfaction decreases, right? There is understandably a positive correlation between weight and body dissatisfaction. The heavier you are, the greater is your body dissatisfaction. No surprise there. What was interesting were these two statistics. So fat talk and body dissatisfaction were correlated, and the correlation is very strong, a 0.64, which means the more you fat talk, the greater is your body dissatisfaction. Next, social influence on appearance. So what is the impact of media and celebrities and Insta and Facebook and so on? The correlation was significant, 0.45, which means the more you watch such kind of things on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and watch such kind of celebrities, the greater is your body dissatisfaction. But if you compare the two figures between fat talk and social influence, you can clearly see that fat talk is more strongly correlated to body dissatisfaction compared to social influence. We then performed what is called as multiple regression. And just look at the model summary figure, which is 0.735. Now, again, that's a huge, huge correlation because it shows that all these variables taken together, age, social influence, fat talk and weight explain 73% of the variance in body dissatisfaction. Those of you who don't understand these numbers, it's okay. The only important thing to remember is that fat talk, when women talk about fat and appearance to each other, that results in body dissatisfaction the most, right? So again, similar to what I found in the previous study, peer conversations, आप आपस में क्या बात करते हैं, हम औरतें एक दूसरे से क्या बात करते हैं, हम अपीयरेंस के बारे में कितना बात करते हैं, वो हमारी बॉडी डिससैटिस्फैक्शन को सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रांगली इम्पैक्ट करता है. We also tried to look at what were the kind of topics which were related to body image that women were discussing between each other. So look at the percentages. People spoke about eating habits. What are you eating? At what time are you eating? क्या खा रहे हो? क्या नहीं खा रहे हो? Exercise regime. So 65% women also spoke about exercise regime to one another. 38% women also spoke about clothes. 31% indeed spoke about fears of becoming overweight. कि क्वारंटीन है, हम खाली बैठे हुए हैं, मैं मोटी हो जाऊंगी, क्या मैं मोटी लग रही हूँ, क्या मैं और मोटी हो जाऊंगी. 21% spoke about dieting, that I would like to go on a diet, मैं ये diet follow करूंगी, मैं वो diet follow करूंगी, and so on. 15% women discussed other people's appearances. Now, those other people could be their friends, those other people could be celebrities, and so on. So this is what women were talking to each other during the pandemic. Now, what were the body parts that they were discussing the most? So when they spoke about fat and when they spoke about, appearance, किस एरिया के बारे में सबसे ज्यादा बातचीत हो रही थी? No surprise, tummy fat. Fat on the stomach, paunch. Highest percentage, 52%. So nearly more than half the percentage of women were speaking about putting on fat on their tummies. And remember, the age group is 15 to 50. The next interesting thing was hair quality followed by skin quality. Now, this is interesting and this is not in line with previous research. So I would think that because we were in lockdown and because we were discussing and we were looking into each other's photograph, or we were looking as videos of each other, we could see only the face. So the hair quality and the skin quality, because that is something that you could see on screen on the computer during the lockdown, became more important than things like thigh fat, face fat, arm fat. Otherwise, previous studies have shown that thigh fat and all are very important topics of conversation. So we found in our study that tummy fat, followed by hair quality, followed by skin quality, were the three most discussed body parts by women during the pandemic. Then we looked at, remember the question where if a friend says to you, I feel so fat, I have put on so much weight, what is it that you are going to say to her? So we looked at the responses that came up and we did what is known as thematic analysis. We tried to find out what were the common themes, what were the common kind of responses that women were giving to each other. The two most prominent themes were focused on diet and exercise. So that was the highest. So there was, the highest response was, so if a woman said, I've put on so much weight, the response to that was, it's okay. Just keep a check on your diet for some time. Take a healthy diet and you will be fine. Try maybe going for a run or a walk. It might help you physically and mentally. Another response, do some exercises and get on a diet. So when a woman said, I've put on so much weight, I'm feeling so fat, her friend advised her, it's okay, try doing this, go for a walk, go do this, go for a run, do some exercises. I would argue well-meaning advice, right? One would think it's a good advice to give. Yeah, I'll just come back to this. The second theme, which was as popular as the first one, about 32%, there was an acknowledgement of weight gain and normalizing it. So if a friend said, I've put on so much weight, her friend was likely to say, it's fine. It's just because we don't get out of the house much. You'll be fine when this phase is over, so chill. It's okay. We're all stuck at our houses and you've experienced some changes in your body. It's okay because we are in a pandemic, our activities have been reduced greatly, so it's understandable why that is happening. Now look at these two themes. Both the themes seem to be well-meaning kind of responses. Your friend is saying, I've put on weight, you advise her, exercise, diet, or you say, it's okay, it's COVID time, koi baat nahi, mote ho gaye ho to, right? But here's the problem. That response is not what the friend was looking for. Guess what? The friend wanted a response which said, no, no, you've not put on weight. You look just fine. You look so pretty. Yeah. And that's interesting because one would have thought that I'm helping my friend by telling her, तो मोटी हो गई है तो क्या हुआ, एक्सरसाइज कर ले, डाइट कर ले, पैंडेमिक है, कोविड है, हम सब घर पे हैं, we haven't done this, तो मोटे हो गए तो क्या हुआ. But it turns out that women don't want to acknowledge the weight gain. The response that they're looking for towards their friend is an empathic response, which is actually sort of denial. So it's a fool's paradise if you ask me, but that is what women are looking for from each other, not acknowledgement of weight gain, not even well-meaning advice कि exercise कर लो, diet कर लो. So what are the implications of these findings? So now I'm going to sort of sum it all up and talk about all the three studies that I spoke about and talk about the implications. Firstly, media and social media do contribute to body dissatisfaction, but it depends on us. It depends upon how we use it, right? Remember, I said if you spend time on Facebook looking at photographs of your friends, it is going to make you unhappier. You will feel more dissatisfied about your body, right? But if you look at Facebook or Instagram to look at travel accounts and all, it's not going to impact your body dissatisfaction. So look at Facebook, even if you want to look at your friends, feel free to do so. But remember, what you're seeing in front of you is their best version, right? Nobody puts their pictures early in the morning without makeup or, when they've just gotten out of the bed. Peer influence and conversations about appearance and weight impact body dissatisfaction more strongly than influence of television, magazines, or social media. I said this earlier, it's not them, it's us. It's not the media, it's us. It's what we women talk to each other. So there is an urgent need for psycho-educational and media literacy interventions. We need to teach women to give helpful responses to each other, not to fat talk, to de-emphasize appearance and beauty in our conversations with each other, not to make responses like, oh my God, you're looking so pretty. How much weight have you lost? The minute you say this, you're connecting thinness with beauty, right? So to de-emphasize thinness from beauty, to de-emphasize appearance in general in our conversations with each other. And more importantly, or well, as importantly, media literacy interventions. When we see images in front of us, we need to see it from a critical lens. Are they real? Are they not? So remember things like airbrushing. So airbrushing has long been used to alter photographs by removing imperfections of models or by enhancing their attributes. So the image that you see, which is the final image, is never the real image. Be mindful. Let me show you some pictures. Yeah, look at this. This is Madonna. She's over 50 years, right? If you see the image on the right and you look at that image and you say, my goodness, how can someone look so pretty, wrinkle free at 50? That's not the real image. The real image is the one on the left. It was airbrushed to make her look like what she's looking on the right. So please remember, the images that you see are digitally altered and touched. Look at another one. Yeah. So the real image and the not so real image. And then there is makeup, right? So I'm going to show you pictures of some celebrities with makeup and without makeup for you to know that this is their real selves. This is what they look after hours of preparation has gone into creating a particular kind of look. Yeah, look at Sushmita Sen with and without makeup. Look at Kajol. This image is not only, well, both of them are with makeup, but the image on the right, the advertisement is certainly digitally altered. Look at how fair she's made out to be. And I remember reading about it, and she gave out interviews. She was not happy with this look, and she wrote about it, and she said, this is not the real me. Yeah. So we need more people like Kajol to speak out, to say, well, this is not me. I'm not as fair. What have you done to me? Look at the spotless armpits in the picture. And that's on the right is the real. Yeah, armpits also cannot be so perfect. Men too. Akshay Kumar is post 50. Can he really look like this? That's his real image, and this is what he looks on screen. Look at Amir Khan. So there are lots of images like these. What you need to remember is that when we see the perfect image of a celebrity or a star, that's not the real them. So remember that the perfection which is portrayed by the media is both genetically impossible for most of us to attain. You know, that kind of bodies, that kind of height, that kind of very, very thin figures is genetically impossible. Only 5% people are genetically blessed to have figures like that. And is also artificially enhanced, as I just showed in these images. Do not compare yourself to these images because they are not a true representation of the individual being photographed. That's not the real them. Appearances are deceptive. Nobody is perfect. Even celebrities whose looks we idealize have flaws. Beauty is overrated. क्या हो जाएगा अगर आप थोड़े ज्यादा खूबसूरत हो जाएंगे? आपकी जॉब, आपकी सैलरी, उसमें फर्क पड़ जाएगा क्या? Will that make you happier? ऐसा कुछ खास नहीं हो जाएगा if suddenly you were to become 10 kg slimmer. Nothing, it's not going to help. So really beauty is overrated. Think about the importance of beauty in your life. What is it going to lead to if you were to become more beautiful? Nothing. It's not going to get you more friends. It's not going to make you more successful. It's not going to make you more money. Nothing. So, is it only the media? What about us? As I already said, it is us who are more powerful. 93% of us women engage in fat talk. 93% women. And this is what we need to remember and fight against. The time is now. Watch your words carefully. De-emphasize beauty and appearance. तो जब आपकी कोई फ्रेंड कहती है कि मैं बहुत मोटी हो गई हूं, तो उसके बारे में एम्फेसिस ब्यूटी से हटा के तो क्या हो गया? उसके बजाय think of other things to talk. You don't have to talk about beauty and appearance all the time. Use social media judiciously. सोशल मीडिया पे आप क्या देखते हैं, कितना देखते हैं, कौन से फिल्टर्स यूज करते हैं, कितनी अपनी खुद की सेल्फीज यूज करते हैं, उसको ध्यान दीजिए. The more photographs you post of yourself, the unhappier you are with regard to your bodies. Now, it seems like a totally bogus finding, but it isn't. जितनी आप अपनी सेल्फीज खुद की डालते हैं, अपनी फोटोग्राफ डालते हैं, उतना आपको खुद ज्यादा नेगेटिव फीलिंग होती है. ट्राई करिएगा. ट्राई टू डिटॉक्स फ्रॉम सोशल मीडिया फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम. ट्राई टू बिकम अ मोर क्रिटिकल कंज्यूमर ऑफ सोशल मीडिया एंड थिंक बिफोर यू फॉरवर्ड. आप कोई किसी सेलिब्रिटी की बहुत ही सुंदर सी लुक या कोई उसका फिटनेस ट्यूटोरियल या कोई और वीडियो जब आप फॉरवर्ड करते हैं तो उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होता है? सो थिंक बिफोर यू फॉरवर्ड. द एक्रोनिम थिंक स्टैंड्स फॉर टी. इज इट ट्रूथफुल? पहली बात तो ये सच है या नहीं है. डज इट हेल्प? इससे किसी दूसरे की कुछ हेल्प होगी? डज इट इंस्पायर? इससे क्या फायदा हो रहा है? इज इट नेसेसरी? इज इट काइंड? सो थिंक बिफोर यू फॉरवर्ड, राइट? डू समथिंग दैट मेक्स यू हैप्पी. Sing, dance, watch a movie, go for a spa, something that makes you feel happy. Do something that makes you feel attractive. Maybe a haircut is going to make you feel attractive. Try it out. Do something that makes you feel successful. Read a new book, learn calligraphy, try a new hobby. COVID के time पे लोगों ने काफी new hobbies भी explore करी हैं. So learn a new hobby. Do something that makes you feel good about yourself, detached from appearance. Do something nice for others. Volunteer work, some other kind, something for other people is going to make you feel good about yourself. Love your body. It's the most amazing thing you will ever own. Own your body, love your body. I'm going to stop by giving you all a homework assignment. It's called the mirror assignment. I want you all to stand in front of the mirror and write down at least 6 positive qualities about yourself. उसमें से कम 2 physical होनी चाहिए. So look at yourself in the mirror and pick up any 2 physical qualities about yourself. Look at things that you may not have noticed earlier. Maybe the shape of your eyebrow, maybe the shape of your ear, your jawline, something positive physically. Also look at what does the mirror tell you about yourself. 2 positive emotional qualities, intellectual qualities, social qualities, anything. right? So look into the mirror and write down positive qualities about yourself. This is going to make you feel happy and make you feel good about yourself. It's about time that we women felt more confident about ourselves, because that is what is going to lead to us feeling mentally healthy, physically healthy, and in a good frame of mind. Thank you very much. My email ID is here, kanika@gmail.com. I'll be very happy to receive your feedback and comments. Thank you very much.